macOS is great, but out of the box, it needs some fine-tuning to reach its full potential. Over the years, I've found a handful of key settings that have completely transformed how I use my Mac. Whether you're new to Mac, switching from Windows, or setting up a fresh install, I'll walk you through each setting step by step to help you unlock your Mac's full potential and make it a powerful tool for your need. Starting with Finder. Finder is similar to File Explorer on Windows and is the backbone of file management on the Mac. On the left side of Finder is the sidebar, which gives you quick access to important folders, drives, and accessories you might connect like external SSDs. By default, it contains a lot of stuff I don't need and makes it look quite cluttered. But customizing it is actually quite easy. Go to Settings, Sidebar, and go through the items that are enabled by default. I prefer to uncheck most of the options here except for Documents, Downloads, My User Drive, and My iCloud Drive. Next, I drag and drop frequently used folders like the folder where I save my video projects into the sidebar for quick access. Some of these folders are many layers deep and it can be confusing to know where you are after a while. To fix this issue, go to View in the menu bar and click on Show Path Bar and Show Status Bar. The path bar shows the full folder structure, super useful when you're working with deep folder structures. You can also easily navigate between folders non-sequentially, which eliminates the need to click through multiple folders. Below it, the status bar shows how many items are in a folder and the available storage space. Heading to the top of the Finder, let's customize the toolbar. Right-click and select Customize Toolbar. I remove most icons here as I have no use for them, but I make sure to add a new folder and delete. These two items make creating folders and deleting items a one-click operation. Once you are done customizing your toolbar, a shortcut to easily change the layout afterwards is to hold the Command key and select items on the toolbar. You can now easily move the items around and get your desired layout. With the toolbar layout complete, let's look at how the contents of the Finder are displayed. By default, items are displayed as icons. So in the toolbar under View, I switch the option to View as List. Also by default, file name extensions are hidden. So go into Settings, Advanced, and enable the option to show all file name extensions. This setting prevents you from accidentally sharing the wrong file if you work with multiple file formats of the same name, like PDFs and Word documents. I also enable the option to keep folders on top in Windows. This way, folders are presented at the top, followed by files. I find this to be the more intuitive view rather than mixing folders and files in alphabetical order. Also, by default, the search item in the toolbar searches for items across your Mac rather than the current folder structure. So going back to Settings and Advanced, I changed the option at the bottom to search the current folder. By default, the desktop shows items like hard disks and external drives. But I like the look of a clean desktop. So under Settings and General, I uncheck all items listed for showing on the desktop. I also prefer to see multiple Finder windows as tabs rather than separate windows, so I check the option to open folders in tabs instead of windows. With these changes, the Finder app is now actually useful. Now let's head over to the dock. The dock is similar to the taskbar in Windows and contains shortcuts to the most frequently used apps. By default, it contains a lot of apps I don't need or use, so I begin by removing them. Next, go to Settings and then Desktop and Dock. To begin, I change the position of the dock on the screen to the left. This gives me more vertical real estate on the screen. I then change the Minimize Windows to use Scale effect to make it more snappy. I also change the double-click a Windows title bar option to Fill. Now apps will maximize when you double-click the title bar. Next, by default, when you minimize applications, they show up as a separate icon in the dock, which makes it cluttered in my opinion. So I enable the option to minimize windows into application icon. This stops applications from minimizing as a separate icon in the dock and keeps it clutter-free. Next, enable automatically hide and show the dock to make it disappear when not using it. This keeps your screen distraction-free and shows the dock only when needed. I disable animate opening applications to make opening applications more quick. I also enable show indicators for open applications to place a dot next to apps that are active. And I disable show suggested and recent apps in dock to again stop cluttering the dock with unnecessary apps. With that said, I place my most often used apps in the dock like Resolve and Microsoft Word by right-clicking on the app, Options, and selecting Keep in Dock. In the theme of keeping the desktop clean, I uncheck Show Items on Desktop. When it comes to window management, macOS has some useful features, but it lacks built-in snapping like Windows. So let's fix that. Scrolling further down, enable the drag windows to screen edge to tile. Now, dragging a window to the left or right will snap it to half the screen, just like Windows. I then enable drag window to the menu bar to fill screen to quickly maximize any app. I also enable the option hold Option key while dragging windows to tile for more precise control over window snapping. Now, when you hold the Option key and drag a window, the tile outline will appear immediately, making for a more precise and effortless snapping of multiple windows. Finally, tiled windows have extra margins around the windows, which is just wasted space, especially if you're using a 13 or 14-inch MacBook. So I disable the tiled windows have margins option. Scrolling further down, on the bottom right is a button for hot corners. Hot corners let you trigger actions by moving your cursor to one of the four edges of the screen. By default, the lower right corner opens the Notes app. But this can be annoying as it can get in the way of using other applications, so I prefer to disable hot corners. Next, one of the best features of the Mac is the Trackpad, and a few tweaks can further enhance the experience of using it. Under Settings and Trackpad, at the bottom, enable Tap to Click. Now, a tap of the trackpad has the same effect as clicking on the trackpad. Just above that, for secondary click, select Click or Tap with two fingers. Now, a two-finger click or tap is the same as a right-click of the mouse. Next, under Scroll and Zoom, I enable natural scrolling. This is my preferred method of scrolling on the trackpad, but this creates the opposite effect of using the scroll wheel on the mouse. So I downloaded a free app called Scroll Reverser and set the preference for scrolling devices to reverse mouse. The last thing I change about the trackpad is under Accessibility, Pointer Control, and Trackpad options. Here, I enable Use Trackpad for dragging and change the dragging style to three-finger drag. Now I can drag windows using three fingers on the trackpad. With the trackpad sorted out, let's move to the menu bar at the top of the screen for one quick change. There are lots of changes you can make to improve its utility, but the most basic change I make is to show the battery percentage. Go to Settings, Control Center, and under Battery, enable the options for Show in Menu Bar and Show Percentage. So there you have it, some of the basic changes I make to any new Mac. With that said, are there any settings you always change on a new Mac? Or did I miss anything that makes your Mac experience even better? Drop a comment below. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.